Why do I have more than one service dog, and do I use both of them? How does that work out? You may have seen some of my videos where I have 3 dogs, 2 cats, but you may have seen some videos where I have my dog Oakley working as a service dog, and you may have seen some of our videos where Whiskey is working as my service dog. So let's start from the very beginning. And don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, push that bell if you'd like to be notified when our next video comes out. So this all started off with my dog Tucker, which you may have seen in some of our videos. He is my oldest dog. He is 12 this year. We almost lost him on Christmas Day last year. It's been a crazy whirlwind of a time with Tucker. But Tucker was my first personal dog, not my family dog. I've had many dogs before him, but he was the first dog that I adopted as my own dog. When I adopted him, I wanted to be able to use him as my service dog, and so I actually trained him to function as my service dog. He did a lot of really amazing tasks for me at home, which he still does to this day. However, after about a year or 2 of trying to train him to be a service dog, I learned that it just wasn't meant for him. Tucker did not enjoy going out to busy public places, and he was anxious when going to places that I was anxious, which wasn't a really good combination. Now, me being able to focus my training on him was helpful, and he did help me in many ways. However, it was selfish of me to try to continue working him. That's when Oakley came along. Now, I was working at a dog training facility, and Oakley was a previous client's dog that they had left at this training facility. I met him while he was living there and while I was working there, and I absolutely fell in love with him. He had a great temperament, but he had some training issues and some things to work through. So I ended up adopting Oakley, long story short, and training him to be my service dog in place of Tucker, so that Tucker could retire and live the life he always wanted to, which is a pet dog, and really just being an at-home service dog where he doesn't have to go out and do things that he doesn't enjoy doing. So within the past several years, Oakley, my big red mutt, has been my full-time service dog. After training, he is the best service dog I will probably ever have, and he's one of the best dogs I'll ever have. He just has a solid temperament, a great personality. There's so many things I love about this dog, and I know that cloning is a thing, and I've had people ask me to clone him so that they could have him too. He does have some quirks and some naughty behaviors, of course, every single dog does, but Oakley is just an all-around amazing dog, and he loves to work just to make me happy, which it's very emotional for me to deal with thinking about not always having Oakley or not having any of my dogs, but Oakley is kind of that soul dog where he just connects to my soul in a different way that I really can't explain. He knows what I need, when I need it, before I need it, and training him to be my service dog really saved my life and has changed my life for the better. I've been able to do things I never thought I'd be able to do because of him. He's gotten me out places and given me opportunities that I never thought that I would have ever had. So why do I have a second service dog now? Why is Whiskey in the picture? Oakley's pretty perfect at his job. There are a few things that he could, be better at, but he's 10 years old. And as much as it devastates me to think about, he's getting older and he's going to need to retire at some point. Or if he doesn't want to retire, he needs to be able to have some days of rest and some days of working because he's an older dog. Now, don't tell him this because he wants to be working and with me at all times. And it's really funny because when I started training Whiskey to be a service dog, I would leave Oakley home sometimes, and that's when I found out he had separation anxiety from me. I had a little separation anxiety from Oakley as well, but we've learned to kind of work through his separation anxiety. I brought Whiskey home to, number one, be my sport dog. I wanted a dog who wasn't 10 or 12 years old that would be able to do more active things with me, do frisbee, agility, dock diving, lots of trick training. Some things that my older dogs weren't capable of doing, I wanted to do with a new, younger dog. Now, on top of that, because Oakley was 10, or at the time he was 8 years old, I knew he was getting towards the end of his career. I was hoping for a dog that could not only dabble in sports and be my active, crazy trick training dog, but could also potentially be Oakley's replacement. The really amazing thing was that Oakley was still working as my full-time service dog all the time when I brought Whiskey home, and she was able to be raised with Oakley, where I took them out places together, and he really helped train her and give her the confidence that he has when going out places and when learning how to be a service dog. Whiskey is not fully 100% trained, and the reason why I say that is because she still needs to be rewarded and reinforced and reminded to do things every so often. However, she is functional as my service dog. She doesn't know all the tasks that Oakley knows, but she will learn those as time goes on and as she matures. Now, her personality is very different from Oakley, and so working with Whiskey versus working with Oakley has been a really interesting combination and difference. Oakley is the kind of dog that works for you just to make you happy. If I just look at Oakley and smile, or if I pet him, he's thrilled. Like, he will melt for that. Tucker is that kind of dog too. All I have to do is say, "Good job, buddy," smile at him, he's happy. Now, Whiskey enjoys working, but she gets frustrated if she doesn't always get something that she wants out of it. Now, despite some videos that you may see, she's not a very cuddly dog. She does not find petting reinforcing or rewarding. So if you're like, "Good girl, Whiskey," she actually will like shrink away from you because she doesn't enjoy that. So that's been a really big learning curve for me. She also has some impulsivity that I wouldn't suggest to someone who wasn't fully able-bodied to work through, because she can be impulsive sometimes and she needs that extra motivation sometimes. Now, she's only 2 years old, and so she's got some time to learn. I actually adopted Oakley when he was 2.5, and so a lot of times when I get really harsh and thinking about how Whiskey's not there yet, at comparing her to my 10-year-old full-time service dog, I think about way back when I adopted Oakley, when he was 2.5, he didn't know a single thing then. And so it's been several years of him learning and training and working with me to be able to pick up on things beforehand and to just be able to work with me so naturally. I work with Whiskey a lot because she's got a big role to fill, especially big shoes to follow, following Oakley as my full-time service dog. So many times when I travel, I take Whiskey with me because she is a more demanding dog, and so she needs more attention, more work, and more training than any of my other dogs need. So Oakley is full-time service dog, fully trained, and so oftentimes when I take Oakley at this stage, it's because I'm in a place where I need my dog who's fully trained and I don't have to think twice about, maybe physically, mentally, emotionally, I might need Oakley to be paying attention to me the most. However, if I'm going to be in a place where I can work with my dog more and I can pay more attention, I can work my dog through things, that's when I'm going to take Whiskey. And so, yes, they are both service dogs. I do have 2 service dogs, but I rarely work them both together anymore. I used to when Whiskey was new in training and she was learning how to be a service dog, because I wanted Oakley's behavior to rub off on her. And that has worked pretty well. Sometimes I still will work both of them, and I have taken them both out places together. However, that is more work for me. Long story short, I have 3 dogs. One is a retired service dog because his temperament, his behavior is not suitable for it. He's a grumpy old man now, and he's allowed to do whatever he wants to do now. Oakley is my full-time service dog and has been for a very long time. I adopted him when he was 2.5, trained him for several years, and now he's at the point where he just works because he loves to work for me. He's had a little bit of a hard time with this transition, but slowly transitioning into having my 3rd dog, Whiskey, take his place one day is helping all of us with the transition. So Whiskey is my youngest dog. Her priority right now is confidence, learning to be a good dog, trick training, sport training. We're doing all the things, and she is learning to one day take Oakley's place. Does that mean that one of my dogs is more my service dog than the other? Not necessarily. Some of the dogs are better at certain things than the other. So Oakley is really good at certain tasks, whereas Whiskey is better at other tasks. Also, the size difference between the 2 dogs has been a big learning curve for me as well. So there's been lots of pros, lots of cons, but I'm really thrilled to be able to have a dog like Oakley still around while training my younger dog, Whiskey, to eventually take his place when he can't work for me anymore. However, Oakley's still doing great. Yes, you are, buddy, I see you. Oakley's still doing amazing, and there's no reason or no time to retire him soon. He just takes breaks every so often so that Whiskey can learn to take his place, and also so he can rest a little bit sometimes because he is getting old. Don't tell him I told you that. I hope that answers your guys' questions. Why do I have one service dog, two service dogs? Why are you saying multiple service dogs on this channel? You may still see one or the other or both, and depending on what we share, you'll find that may be confusing. So if you had that question, I hope this video answers this question for you. And stay tuned because we have way more content coming soon. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below. We love hearing from you guys. We really appreciate all of your support on this channel. Thanks, guys.